Hello there. Do you ever feel like you're just in the dark? Yeah. Okay, I kind of look like a monster without the lights. Woo! Can you hear me okay? I don't have my headphones in because I don't have anybody on that I need to hear. So let me say hello, uh, to Just Deb. Thank you, Jinxie, for being here. Uh, Polygraph. Hello. Uh, Deja Vu. All right. I assume y'all are hearing me okay. I'm playing with this. Okay. It's getting darker in here. Maybe it's too dark. I'll turn my other light on. It's just like I look so washed out. Woo! I'm gonna be blinking a lot now. Okay. So how is everybody tonight? I'm gonna try to keep this. Okay, good. Good. Good audio and video. Thank you, Jinxie, for letting me know because uh I don't. You know? It's weird. It's weird to sit here. It's weird to sit here and talk to like nothing, and I can't hear. I have to read everything. Um, I am gonna tell you a lot of things actually tonight. Man, there's so much. First of all, anybody who is subscribed to Justice Serve Daily or went to her birthday party, I guess it was like a week ago, I won this. All right. How to Get Away with Murder. Do I look like the kind of person that needs this? Just saying. It's really cool. It's a brain games book, and I won this. Thank you so much, Justice. This is amazing. And it's also got some crime cases in here. A lot of it's just like, it's like all kind of stuff. You have all kind of crime stuff like word search. Hey, this isn't sponsored. Uh, I'm just saying it's pretty cool. She also has some cases in here, and there is something called the Redhead murders, and I don't know, like how did I get past that? This was like in the 80s or 90s. I never heard of it. So guess what I'm gonna be researching maybe for another vintage crime thing that I do. Um, which I will be doing soon. I'm looking for my glasses, and they are literally on my head. Jeez Louise. um, yeah. Yeah, polygraph, it does look like it's good. I don't really know how long it's been in my mailbox, to be honest with you. I don't check my mail every day. I have not checked my mail for several days because it's usually just junk, and I had completely forgotten about this. It looks like it's going to be a load of fun, especially as fall and winter, I don't know about y'all, but I love to snuggle up in a blanket and a cup of tea or hot chocolate or something with a book. I like coloring books. Are y'all that way? Anybody like a coloring book? I do. I'm 20 old and still color, but it's very relaxing and it's fun. So, I know this is a kind of awkward time of the day. People are getting home from work and having supper or whatever. I always, if you're watching this on the replay, that's fine. You gotta do what you gotta do. And I get that. Um, so anyway, there are a lot of cases out here. Uh, some updates, some questions, and I want to introduce you. If you don't know the case of Karen Reed, this is gonna be a sticky one. You know how the Delphi case goes with it could be this, it could be that. Uh, yeah, it's one of those things that it's like you listen to some part of the evidence and you're like, oh, okay, she did it. She is guilty as homemade sin. And then you turn around and um you listen to some of the other evidence and you're like, oh no, no, I don't think she's guilty. Um, it is really a very fascinating case, and it is going to be coming up. Um, it's always in the news, and so yeah, you'll be able to really sink your teeth into this one. So I did want to, do that along with LISK. Hello, Hiawatha. Ah. Oh, Polygraph says this is a great time for a live. Okay, I don't know what time it is at your house, but it's 6 p.m. here, Central. So, if I had a regular, normal job, I would be getting home and cooking. I would probably not be on a live. But, uh, anyway, I'm glad it's good for y'all. And I think, I don't know if y'all watch Evil CJ, but you should. And he is going to be covering Karen Reed as well. So, I hope to jump on some of his lives or have him on mine as well. Hello, Unmasked Truth. But I do have a video that I want us to watch, and I'm going to try, y'all know how this goes. I'm going to try to keep it around an hour tonight. Okay, Jinx, it says it's 7 p.m. where she's at. Okay, so there you go. Yeah, so anyway, I got that out of the way. For some of you, I know that you watch my other channel, and I have been working so hard on a scary video for spooky season. I've tried to put more into it this time, so it took a long time. It is a longer video though. So it will be dropping at 5 a.m. in the morning on that channel if you like to be scared. And I hope that you enjoy it. It certainly was a lot. A lot. All right. So, let's start with Long Island SK. Have you all been watching, like, it seemed like in the beginning everybody was talking about Rex Heuermann, and of course we know he's been arrested, and I don't see him getting out of this unless there is a lot of stuff that we don't know. This guy is, in my opinion, definitely guilty. However, I do have some questions about, Shannon Gilbert is the one that was missing, that led them to the 4 bodies, that Rex has now been arrested for 10 years, 11 years later, whatever. But I still have a lot of questions about James Burke, and you know that I have done a video or two about him, definitely have talked about him, and I feel like I heard a quote from him. If you remember, he's the one that got in trouble, and he lost his position. He went to prison for a while. He actually got charged with, I don't know how to say, he was so violent with a witness. So yes, thank you, Jinx. Thank you, Jinx. Welcome new members. Absolutely, absolutely. But anyway, with Christopher Loeb, he did some terrible interrogation techniques on him, and he was eventually arrested and sentenced for that. However, what was interesting in here is, nobody believed Christopher Loeb because, he was an addict. He was out there, breaking into cars. Absolutely true. But he made this statement that James Burke said or threatened him with giving him a hot shot. Now, we all know what a hot shot is. My question is, if this was something that James Burke was used to doing, okay? Remember, he was the chief of police, the very crooked, dirty chief of police in on Long Island and Suffolk County. And he just, kind of flippantly says, well, we'll just give you a hot shot. That leads me to believe that he may have done that before, people who were expendable. And if you listen, I think one of the last ones I did on LISK, we talked about Leanne, who was the escort, who said that she was up there in the same area with Sharon Gilbert on that stretch of beach, the Gilgo Beach area, and he was extremely, extremely violent in his manner. In his, it gets very graphic, so I didn't go into that, but in his manner of their encounter and his words, he was very violent. So it makes me wonder if, not saying that Burke is the Long Island SK, but it makes me wonder if some of the bodies piled up around there, because there are many more than what Rex Heuermann has been charged with, makes me wonder if there wasn't some shady stuff going on there, and maybe some of these escorts or some of the bodies that have piled up, I wonder if they did have a hot shot. Seemed like he used that very flippantly. So what do you think? Let me go back, and once again, I don't have my mouse because I'm using a better camera. Let's see, let me go back to Holly Southern Style. It is so nice to see you, Holly. I'm pretty sure the doctor that then moved to Florida that faked his heart attack was part of that too. Yes, yes. That's the boys club for you, and the Brotherhood likes their dirty deeds. You are so right. Indeed, they do. And we absolutely know who they are talking about. I know who you're talking about when you say the Brotherhood. But yes, that doctor's name was, why can't I think of it? I just drew a blank. I know this name. Anyway, yeah, if you haven't, we talked about that on another video too. His fake heart attack. Oh my gosh. What a bunch of crap. But yes, he did. He moved out of the area, and you know, I'm just saying, I think that there was, this is just my opinion, okay? This is Silky talking. I think there was a lot of criminal activity up in that area. Shannon Gilbert, that wasn't the first escort that went up there, nor was it the last. However, she did meet a terrible end. I think that a lot of the boys club, whatever kind of boys club that is, maybe it was just neighbors, friends of the people that lived there. I think they were, and I think that's been established, they engaged in this kind of activity. I don't know where the wives were. Somebody tell me. Like in all these cases, where are the wives? I don't know. Are they out shopping, or are they on vacation, or is this just like a place the husband goes to get away? Because I'm just saying, I wouldn't be okay with that. I'd be asking lots of questions. And I'm the type of person that if you frequently go somewhere, you and the boys, I'm going to show up one day. I'm just going to tell you right now. I am going to show up at like 1, 2 in the morning and see what's going on. But that's just me. I don't, let's see here. Jimmy the King, yes, yes. You know what? Hiawatha, I have wanted to get that book. I've been trying to get that book, and it was sold out. I think because of course, all of this publicity, and it may be back in stock. I haven't looked lately. And then I thought, well, maybe I'll just get it on audiobook, and I just haven't done that yet. But yes, you're right. That is the go-to book for, oh man, what a story that is. Hey, Miss Persevere, how are you doing? Okay, Polygraph, you don't know what a hot shot is. Okay, let me say this YouTube friendly. A hot shot is when, you are given certain substances, illegal substances, mixed in a way that is not just to give you that experience that people seek, but it is lethal. Okay, they mix it knowing that they are going to give you more than your body can handle. Does that make sense? Some people who have hot shots, and I've had a lot of patients who are this way, they have, you might as well. I mean, they are breathing, they're living, but they have, like, it's like somebody just literally took an egg beater and scrambled their brains. Nothing that they say makes sense if you survive that hot shot. Now sometimes it is accidental, and but it doesn't, the thing with a hot shot is it is permanent. You are never going to get any better. Your brain is just going to be stuck in that situation. But often than not, it is used for a punishment, revenge, that kind of thing. Um, there are, and I know, here we go. There are a lot of Miss Persevere. Did you start a channel? I know you talked about it. We talked about it. I am gonna have to look that up because I didn't see it. Hello, Dre. Um, but yeah, I know we talk about a lot of dirty cops, and there are. I mean, there are. There's a lot of dirty nurses too. There's a lot of dirty lawyers. Okay, so please, again, don't misunderstand me. We're just talking about corruption. Just so happens when you do true crime, it comes up more often. Not to say that there aren't. I mean, look at, what's her name, Lucy Letby. Man, yeah, Jinx. By the way, CJ and I are going to do Herb Baumeister. I think that's going to be a members only, though, the way we talked about it. We'll be streaming that, I think, Saturday night. I'm not sure. Maybe he might have changed his mind. His schedule is pretty packed. The A&E documentary on LISK. Yes, I did see that. And hey, if you don't like documentaries and you want to watch a movie, it is on Netflix. It's called Lost Girls, and it is really, really good. I didn't know what it was about. It was on my, playlist. I don't know if y'all do this, but like I'll spend an hour and a half going through Netflix and just like making a list of things that I think I might want to watch, and then I never watch them. Or it's a year later and I'm going back, oh yeah, I kind of did want to see that. I don't watch TV or Netflix a whole lot. That's because I'm on YouTube all of the time. Hello, Danger Dave. How are you? I'd love to do a show with you sometime. If you want to come up on panel, you can hit me up in my email. I don't know if you're on Discord. By the way, if any of you want to get on panel as we go through this video and talk about it tonight, I will give you a link, but you will have to hit me up on Discord first, okay? Let me put my phone over here so I can see something. Because of the trolls. All right? So message me and I'll shoot you a link on Discord. Unless I have your email. If I already have your email, I can do that. All right. Yes. Don't forget about CJ. I'm trying to catch up. All right. I wonder how many lurkers they deal with. Oh yeah, the Murdoch. Oh, and the Murdoch. Yeah, I didn't even throw that in the title, y'all. Somebody tell me what's up. What is up? Okay, I sure will. Laura, hold on just a second. Let me copy this link. And I just now put the Discord on on my let me find you on here. I just now put Discord on my computer and I had to change my all right, here we go. I had to change my password because I didn't know it. Honest to goodness, I did not know my password on Discord because it's just been on my phone. So anyway, all right, digital. New trial? Are we talking about Alex Murdaugh? Yeah, they're talking about a lot of different information, and I know that just came out. They're saying my understanding. Okay, so don't quote me. My understanding is that it is something to do with a person in the court. Was it the court reporter? Somebody that had too close of a relationship or knew the jurors, and they felt that the jurors could have been persuaded. Now I don't know the details. Murdoch is like the case that just will not end. Uh, here's the thing. It seems pretty cut and dried to me that he committed this crime. However, even if he didn't, the things that he admitted to doing, and the theft, just being a horrible person. Here's what I'm saying. Alex Murdaugh, you should be in jail just for being a horrible person. Probably as should a lot of other people. But the things that you did, you know what? Outside of the unaliving of your family, you suck. That's it. You just suck as a human. Um, Maybe you can learn to be better in jail. I doubt it. I doubt it. But it's a nice thought. Maybe you could redeem yourself. I don't know. Think you are exactly where you need to be. And I know if you have any fans out there, they're probably going to come at me. I don't care. I don't care. Some of those things, stealing people's money, whatever. No, you're okay sitting there, uh, eating your peanut butter sandwiches, whatever. Um, all right. So, okay, the escapee in Pennsylvania. I'm looking at your stuff. I did not watch. I think Grizzly True Crime covered it last night. I heard it was live, but I fell asleep. Um, have they caught him? I don't think so. I haven't seen breaking news. Uh, Miss Persevere says I think that guy is long gone. He may be. Sounds like he definitely had a plan, though. He had some help on the outside. Um, all right. I have not heard anything about them trying to implicate Buster on that. Uh, on the Alex case. However, I have not, you know what I haven't heard? I have not heard any word about the exhumation and re-autopsy of Stephen Smith, other than they did. I just heard that they did it. They were satisfied with their evidence, or the state of the body, and they felt that they had done a thorough exam, and that's all I've heard. I haven't heard anything else, but that goes along with the Alex Murdaugh case. Um, okay, good, good. Oh, they just had a sighting on Chandler Road, but oh, it's another false alarm. Okay. All right, so we've talked about LISK. We've talked about this. Delphi. Ooh. Uh, you know what? There is so much. Every time I say I'm not gonna look at anything on Delphi, so much. There's so much stuff still floating around there, and I honestly wish that the trial would go ahead, and I wish it was January. Not really. I hate cold weather, but I really wish the trial would just start at this point, because it seems like everybody is just at everybody's throat. There's not a whole lot of new information. There's a lot of fighting going on, for one reason or another, but then occasionally somebody does dig up some stuff that makes you think. I promise you, so many times I'm like, Richard Allen is just guilty. He had to be involved in this. And then I look at some other stuff and I'm like, I don't think he did. I don't see. Here's the thing. If he is guilty, that PCA. There better be another PCA, and I think Ruckus says he feels like there is, with a lot more evidence in it, because I don't think that they've got enough on him. Definitely, if they are just going off what's in the PCA, in my opinion, they do not have enough beyond a reasonable doubt to me. But, we'll see what comes out in trial. There's a lot of things that I don't buy. Uh, we've talked about this before. Witness statements are crap. Witnesses are crap. Even if they're close up and they know. I mean, here's the thing. I watched a video one time, and it was a test, and they're talking, the whole thing was about, how much can you remember? Okay, so they tell you you're about to see a crime, and watch, it was maybe 10-15 seconds, okay, of a video. Like, I felt like I knew exactly what happened. Okay, I see this guy come in. I know what the guy looks like. Absolutely, in my head, I know what he looks like. I know what happened. I think it's a robbery or something, or I don't know. He steals something. Maybe it's just a theft. Anyway, you watch this, and then they ask you questions. Now, it was not a far away, blurry picture. Like, this was a reenactment, okay? And it was a perfectly clear, concise video. I'm like, oh, I'm going to score 100 on this test. And when they did the lineup of who that face was, I honestly could not tell. As far as, like, there were so many things in there that I didn't catch. And that was me knowing you're going to witness a crime and I'm going to ask you questions. So I was like, intent. Let's watch this. And, I was flabbergasted at how much I didn't know. So, compile that on the fact that people are just out that day and they're walking around. And, it's supposedly, whatever. We've talked about the temperature, whatever. I did a whole video on that. But it was a day that was pleasant enough to be outside. And people were walking the trails, but they didn't know a crime was going to be committed. They're just walking. They're doing their thing. They're on their phones. They're talking to whomever. Okay, me knowing a crime was going to be committed and watching like a hawk, still not knowing what happened. Same thing, but you're just out there enjoying the day. I could not tell you who I passed. Probably in a very small community like that, if I knew them or I knew they were somebody's mom or daughter or cousin, I'd remember that. But I think they're going to tear apart these witnesses. I just don't see it flying in that case. Hey, Kip Kitty, you just go ahead and make your supper. I already made mine. I ate it. I'm good. So anyway, yeah. So as far as the witness testimony, I think it's crap. I do. I think they're gonna pull it apart. Not to say that he's not guilty. I don't know. But what are your thoughts? I mean, anything. And let me just tell you, okay. I did one or two videos on Brandon Woodhouse. The reason, there are many, many reasons that I'm not going to cover that case, and I think there's probably some truth to it, okay? Like I said, but I think it is more damaging, both to him personally, because it's going to bring up some stuff for him that is going to be very difficult, and it hurts the prosecution. It hurts the defense. Like, let's just shut up about it, okay? Because at this point, I think everybody is in danger of causing this trial to be delayed or not even happen. So, that's why I'm staying out of it. And I think that's probably why a lot of creators are. I'm not trying to cause trouble for anybody. And, Yes, I know what he's saying. If like it's a precedence, if he was mistreated, allegedly, one case is settled, and then he's got another one. If he was mistreated, does it show the police and the law enforcement in a bad light? Yes, it does. But then he also flips it over and onto the defense, and so I just feel like there's too many variables, and I just think it will get really, really ugly. Okay. Um, so I'm out. I'm out on that one. Uh, okay, digital. Murdoch, clerk of court, allegedly told jury not to be swayed by Alex's testimony. Went in the bathroom with a head juror, told other jurors they couldn't discuss it. Oh. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That is pretty damaging. That is yeah, that's bad. And you know what, I'm gonna tell you, that might get him a new trial. It absolutely might. However, uh, was that wrong? And yeah, I'm still gonna say what I said. Alex deserves prison for his many misdeeds among two people. So maybe it didn't work out, you know, the way if I don't think he's innocent. I'll just be honest. I don't think he's innocent. But if he were, you still deserve that mess, Alec. I'm just telling you. Let's see. Well, we're talking about Brandon. Pretty sure Woodhouse is back in county for violating his parole. Oh, okay. Yeah, do check on that, Jinx. Here's the thing. I know he's a frequent flyer. I work at a jail. Can tell you, statistically, they're all frequent flyers. Um, you know, wouldn't surprise me. Uh, okay. Court finds probable cause that defendant violated conditions of release. Arrest warrant issued per form. Okay. Well, there you go. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Even if Brandon is 100% accurate in what he said happened to him, all these things are going to come up, okay? He will be crucified in public opinion, and for many reasons that is understandable. Let me just put it that way, because I'm not throwing shade on his past, on anybody's past. But I will say it's just going to open up a whole new can of worms, and I'm just saying I wouldn't want if I were in that situation, I wouldn't want to discuss it. Okay. Um. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. A mass truth. I've heard 4 different men accuse cops of sleeping with their wives or girlfriends in the Delphi Tower. So have I. Yeah, so have I. Um, and you know what? That is, wow. I have to say this is true across the board, okay? And I'm going to throw shade on my own profession. Working with law enforcement, and it there is a they say, okay, now I know some great guys. Let me preface this by saying I know some great law enforcement people, wonderful guys, absolutely top notch, very faithful, uh, and I don't mean just like one. I know several that are really, really great guys. I also know a lot that are very loose, very loose morals. Let me just say that. But by the same token, and I've talked to this with other nurses for years. Nurses are notoriously, I don't want to say the word, it starts with an H or a W, it depends on how you say it. Nurses are notoriously loose morals as well. So I don't know why. It kind of goes with the profession. So it doesn't surprise me that people are sleeping around. I mean, it happens a lot where I work too. A lot. Um, not okay. All right, not okay. All right. Who knows? I think that's about all I've got to catch up on before we start Karen Reed. What time is it? Oh yeah. How many, like, show a little hands. How many people have heard of or are following the Karen Reed case? I think it's Karen Reed, John O'Keefe. The woman that has been arrested for running over her live-in boyfriend, whatever, partner. Um, Let me see here. Jinx. Oh my gosh. But yeah, I okay, when somebody first said, hey, are you following Karen Reed? And she supposedly, I know I say it wrong all the time, but I know what I'm talking about. Is supposedly. She supposedly ran over her boyfriend and left him in the snow. And to me, that just seemed like happens all the time. Whatever. It didn't seem to be that interesting of a case to me. And then I started looking. I just watched one video on it, and I'm like, holy crap. Man, this goes way. There's so many variables on this. Again, as we're waiting for Delphi to do something, um, here's another case that we can look into and discuss because it's a humdinger. I'm just telling you. Uh, Laura, I don't know what happened to Laura Thompson, but I thought, I gave her that, hold on, let me get check on Laura. Yeah, I did. I did. All right, I just want to make sure that she could come on here if she wanted to. All right, because Laura, by the way, Laura and I are going to talk about the Long Island serial K. And because of her psychology background and stuff like that, she's going to help us out some understanding some of that. She might help. I'd have to ask her on the fly about Karen Reed. But let's start with Karen Reed. And then we're going to watch this video. Long story short, Karen and John they knew each other in high school, okay? I think they maybe dated, they had some kind of relationship. Anyway, years pass. They go their separate ways. And then during lockdown, during 2020, I believe, they kind of reconnected. I think he reached out to her, whatever. Here's what happened with the pandemic. Everybody's sitting around their computers and they can't go out, and you're just, you can't meet people, so they're just, hitting up their exes. I don't know. But anyway, he was following her. Don't tell me a lot of bad decisions weren't made in 2020 because I know better. Uh, but anyway, I wasn't one of those people, honestly. I made all my bad decisions before 2020. Thank you. But anyway, okay, Unmatched Truth doesn't know about Karen Reed. Okay, so anyway, they start chit-chatting online during 2020, and she sees that he's got pictures with children. Now, it's been a good many years since high school, and she remembers hearing that his sister, who had children, had, I guess, either her or her and her husband had passed away. Anyway, the kids did not have any parents, and so John takes his niece and nephew in. I think that's who it was, niece and nephew. He takes them in and he becomes a dad to him. So when she sees, he's a dad figure, he's taking his sister's kids in, she is, she's thinking, oh, okay, he's a decent person, all right, maybe he turned into something. Uh, okay. All right, sorry to interrupt. Laura says she's finishing cooking dinner. Okay. my, my voice motivates her to clean and do chores. I wish it motivated me to do something. Uh, you can come clean over here when you're done. I'll talk to you. But anyway, yeah, so she's like, hey, he looks like an upstanding guy. He's a policeman. He's, taking on this family. Okay, I'm gonna talk to him. So they strike up, a relationship, and everything seems to be doing, going good there for a while. It was a complete reconnection. Yes, thank you, Jinx. And I don't know if that's the link. There is one specific link that we're gonna watch in just a minute. I don't know if that's it or not, but there's a lot of good ones. Well, here's the thing. As time passed, I think, to be honest with you, I think they both drank a lot. And here we go again. I am stereotyping again. Um, Police, law enforcement, and attorneys as well. Um, they are kind of notorious drinkers, all right? And I understand in a way because the job is so hard. It is whew, what they deal with, what they see every day. I think it starts as, what, I need a beer. I need something to just unwind, maybe a glass of wine, maybe whatever. And then it just kind of escalates. Many people in these positions drink a lot or too much. Not to say that John O'Keefe did. I don't know. But he and Karen Reed were both pretty social, and they were social drinkers. So as time passes, she she moves in with him, and she begins to feel like he's taking advantage of her. Okay, there was a lot of fighting, a lot of you didn't. Anyway, so in on New Year's, this is coming up onto 2022. On New Year's Eve, John, he goes out drinking. He doesn't come back until 3:30 in the morning. She is livid, okay, because he leaves her with the kids, and he just, takes off. And so they have a pretty big fight about it. But then she says, and you'll see this in the video, he realized what he had done and he apologized, blah blah blah. But people that know them and their relationship said that they did fight a lot, okay? And so there's that. Now, as so they basically make up after New Year's, but that was a big deal. So around, I think it was either January 28th or 29th, somewhere, maybe it was the night of the 28th into the 29th of 2022, they decide to go, there's a whole group, they decide to go out, an adult night. They're at one bar where it says that I heard that CCTV counted 7 drinks that Karen had. I don't know how many John had. And then they walk over to another bar called the Waterfall. And they're done there about midnight-ish, okay? And you'll hear Karen say that some of the other officers, now they're all out partying with other officers and their wives, girlfriends, whatever. And you will hear Karen say they went to another after party at one of the officers' houses, okay? Like, that wasn't enough. All this, they still wanted to party. But she says she did not hear or feel that John and herself had been invited to the person's house. So she says they're in the car and she's driving. She's got a big black SUV, and they're kind of arguing in there, and she's saying, look, I don't think we're invited. And he's like, yeah, we're going. And according to Karen Reed, she says that she didn't feel like they were welcome necessarily. She wasn't sure. And she let John out, and now it's snowing. There's lots of snow on the ground. This is up in Boston. And she lets him off at this officer's house, and she said she waited there, and she had told him, like, give me a sign if it's okay. You know how it is, like, let's not just, you walk up in there. I'm not going in there because they didn't ask me to. And she said she waits about 10 minutes. Whatever. He does not contact her and say, hey babe, come on in, or whatever like that. So she's like, you know what? I'm tired. It's, midnight, and the kids are at home, and I'm just going to go back with the kids. So she says that she goes to bed about 1:30 by the time she goes to sleep. Wakes up around 5 and John's still not there. All right. She says she goes out looking for him, and eventually she gets some of the other people, the wives of, some of these other officers, to come with her, and they find him in the snow in the driveway of this officer's home. He has injuries. He has already passed. She's trying to do CPR. She says that someone basically had an altercation in the house, and they, beat him up and threw him out in the snow. Law enforcement says she backed over him, and it was intentional. Like, she was angry. He gets out of the truck and she just, puts it in reverse. There are so many variables with this, and I've listened to it back and forth. So this is just kind of the backstory. And it gets crazy. Y'all, the details get crazy. Mommy Wolverine, hi, nice to see you. Alright, so I am going to, man, it is hot in here. All of a sudden, it feels like it's 1,000 degrees in this room. Alright, let me go to, this is from Court TV, okay? And I am going to have to stop it every so often because otherwise I could get a copyright strike. But this is just fair use, okay? We're going to be looking at this.
Let's talk about the case that we're talking about.
Let me see if I can get this to play for y'all. Okay, I guess it was. All right. I don't know what I'm doing.
About tonight, which is in Massachusetts. The defendant was the girlfriend of the victim. The victim, a Boston police officer, dead in a snowbank. She's accused of the murder, striking him with her car. But the defense has a whole different theory about what happened here. I'm not calling it a conspiracy theory like in the negative way, but it's a theory involving a conspiracy. Okay, there's a difference. There's a difference. There's no one like landing from Mars or anything. There's a difference. But they are alleging some sort of a conspiracy. Now, for those of you who don't know what this story is, you need some more facts. Chanley Painter has the story.
Okay, the only reason there are no Mars landings in this story just is because it doesn't take place in Delphi. Because I'm just telling you, I am waiting for that. All right. So just, I mean, would y'all be surprised? I wouldn't. All right, here we go.
John O'Keefe was a good cop, and he was a good man. That's why my client was with him.
Karen Reed is accused of causing the death of her boyfriend, Boston police officer John O'Keefe, after a night of heavy drinking. Prosecutors claim Reed backed her car into O'Keefe during a snowstorm and left him to die. But Reed's defense says the Commonwealth has it all wrong.
With each new piece of evidence that comes in, we're more and more convinced of my client's innocence.
O'Keefe's snow-covered body was found outside the home of another officer in Canton, Massachusetts. According to the prosecution's statement of the case, the couple was invited to the house after the bars in downtown Canton closed. Witnesses told investigators they last saw the couple at the Waterfall Bar and Grill. Others said they saw a black SUV resembling Reed's parked outside the house, but never saw O'Keefe come inside. Reed told investigators that she dropped him off at the after party and never heard from him again.
She went home to take care of the kids, and then she called him 49 times. Where are you? Why aren't you back?
Okay, let me stop right here for a second. All right, she called him 49 times. Let me ask you. To me, they're acting like that's... Oh, well, it is. It's a lot. I wouldn't have called 49 times. But if you... I can see this both ways, all right? this is the first thing I can see both ways. If you are truly concerned and you don't know, and you're like, John, why are you not picking up the phone? Let me call you. You know, obviously you can't hear. Maybe you think there's music playing. Maybe you just keep trying because you are worried. Hey, it's 3 a.m. and you're not home. You said this wasn't going to happen again. You know, I don't know. Or was she calling him that many times to establish an alibi or to establish, you know, real concern? What do you think? So far. Everybody's talking about Jinx's accent. Yeah, but I'll go on. But that was the first thing. They're calling this a big red flag. And I don't know, I can see it both ways.
She was the one to go back to that residence to look for him. She was the one to find him. She was the one to try and keep him warm and give him CPR and try and revive him.
But Norfolk County prosecutors question those actions. They claim voicemails and text messages detail strains in the relationship and the victim's desire to end their relationship, including a voicemail from the night he died in which Reed allegedly told O'Keefe that she hated him. Also, O'Keefe's niece and nephew who lived with him allegedly told police that the couple fought constantly about the relationship and breaking up before his death.
Okay. What do you think of that? I mean, they said that there is a voicemail from Karen to John that night, the night that he passed away, that she hated him. You know, I can't say I've never said that in a relationship, but I meant it. I meant every word. But if you have had as many drinks as they've had and you're in a drunken fight, do you say things that you don't mean? Absolutely. I am glad that nobody, you know, I'm glad we don't necessarily hold people accountable for what they say when they're drunk. But yeah, sometimes the truth comes out. You know, there's always that possibility. But let's go on. So, you know, and actually, I think that John had at one point asked her to move out, like really recently, like, look, we're fighting all the time, we're not getting along. I think we should just end this. And you know, there are a lot of ways to end a relationship besides running over somebody. And I know this seems kind of cut and dried, and it doesn't seem that, it may not seem that interesting now. But the details, the devil is in the details. And it is trying to figure out what is the truth and what is not. Because she's saying that there is some kind of conspiracy with the policeman. She doesn't know what happened, if he was, again, let me just say, cops are notorious for sleeping with each other's wives, girlfriends, whatever. When I say I literally see this every day, I mean it. It happens. Hospitals are a hotbed of, you know, fornication too. I'm just telling you. But, you know, it makes me wonder if that night on New Year's, if when he stayed out till 3:30, what was he doing? Where was he? And was he with somebody else's significant other or girlfriend or whatever? Could this be, you know, just a few weeks later, like 3 weeks later, 4 weeks later? Could someone be saying, you know, I'm gonna get him for that. Maybe it went too far. I don't know. But she's saying it's conspiracy. That's a big stretch, really. In most cases. And looking at the evidence, even breaking down the evidence, every piece that has caused me to question, well, what about this? Well, what about that? It's like, there are two sides to this, and it's a little mind-boggling. All right. Let's see here. If somebody is in my Discord or in any of the Discords I'm in, and you want to hop on here on panel, put it down there and I'll send you a link. All right, let's keep going with this one.
Prosecutors point to a broken taillight on Reed's SUV, pieces of which were allegedly found near O'Keefe's body, to suggest she ran her car into him. A forensic pathologist opined that significant blunt force trauma injuries occurred prior to Mr. O'Keefe becoming hypothermic. Cuts and bruises were found on O'Keefe's head and arm.
Somebody.
Okay. Again. So, all right, the first time I heard this, I'm like, okay, they found parts of her taillight by his body. Definitely she hit him, right? I wish it was that simple. She did return and find him. And there is a possibility, and we're going to look at a video where she says this accident occurred just a few hours earlier. And, there you go. You're like, oh, well, I thought I knew this. Oh, but maybe I didn't. And when you look at, I have not read the whole autopsy report. I don't know if Evil CJ is going to have a lot of the documents dropped. And I don't know if the autopsy is in there or not. But from what the coroner has said, there were defensive wounds on the back of his hand. And you will see that. Now, that is weird to me. Because if you're calling it a defensive wound right back here. All right, if I see an SUV, even though I'm drunk. If I see an SUV backing into me, I'm not going to push it this way. I'm going to push it this way. Not that I can move an SUV, but you're going to, reflex. You're going to try, right? All right, so, that's another thing that made me go, oh, some of his other wounds, it's very, very sketchy. It does. Sometimes when you listen to this, Samantha, it does sound like she may have been framed, and that's what she's saying. And I just got done watching a show with Profiling Evil, and he is basically refuting everything the defense is saying. But I don't think that he completely refutes it, okay? Definitely, I think what he does is he calls it stuff into question that they are saying it's definitely this way, and then when he explains it, it's like, oh, I don't know, that could go either way. That's what is so infuriating about this case. Yes, Deb, it sounds sus to me. And then you're gonna see some videos, so let's go on, because it just gets crazy out here.
Being hit by a car, I would submit, does not look like they had been punched out by Mike Tyson. And the victim here looked like he had been punched out by Mike Tyson.
Reed's lawyer, David Yannetti, says his client is not responsible for O'Keefe's injuries.
I believe that the evidence shows that she didn't hit him. I've said in the past that his injuries are not consistent with being hit by a vehicle. And by the way, the Lexus taillight breaking, coming in contact with a human being and not a hard surface, makes no sense to me. I think it's going to make no sense to a jury.
Okay, now that is going to come up again as we watch the video. This is the defense attorney, and this is the part that gets me. According to what he says, again, I have not read the actual autopsy, but according to what he says, that John had 2 black eyes and a laceration above, I think they said his left. Wait, that's my left. Jeez. But definitely the 2 black eyes, okay? So, please explain that to me. Oh, look there we go. A reminder to take out my garbage. Y'all know this happens every Tuesday night. I already did that. We're good. So, unless they can explain to me how you have two black eyes. Like he said, you heard him say, it's like he'd been punched by Mike Tyson. That, you know, people that I've seen that have been run over, uh, first of all, you're talking about the bumper, right? Probably. It would be a lower wound, I would think. The bumper's going to come out first, before the window, before anything else. So you would have to have marks lower in your body depending on where or how tall John O'Keefe was. So that's one question, but let's go on.
If not Reed, who? Her lawyer says that there's a lot they still don't know.
This is a case where the homeowner, being a Boston police officer, was treated differently than he would have been if he were you or me.
Okay, bottom line, this trial hasn't happened. I haven't seen the evidence, so I don't know what happened here. I just know what the prosecution is alleging here. But let's bring in Court TV legal correspondent Chanley Painter to talk about what the defense is alleging here. What is their theory on what happened here?
The defense seems to be indicating a theory based on recent motions that this was a police cover-up, that a dead police officer is found in the front yard of the police officer's home who has a close relationship with the lead investigator on this case. So here are some of those explosive.
Okay, let me say here, did you catch that? This police officer has a close relationship with the lead investigator. And if you will remember, they said that he was not treated like you or I would be treated because he was a police officer. Look, I get that. That is going to be absolutely true. I mean, you're not going to treat somebody, your coworker, not just your coworker, your friends, because when you're in this line of work, you literally depend on the other officers. You know, you have to trust people with your life. And I mean, even speaking from medical and, you know, in corrections, my COs, I have to trust them with my life. I do. And so you get a close relationship. You bond together. It's probably a weird kind of trauma bonding, honestly. But you do have a bond there. And you become very emotionally. I don't mean like, you know, well, we've already talked about some people crossing that line, but emotionally, you have a very close tie with these people because of the situations that you find yourself in every single day. So I understand they're not going to treat him the same, and I honestly would not expect them to initially. Okay, but here's my question: if you have a close relationship with the lead investigator, even if your lead investigator is a stand-up guy or gal, don't you think that they are going to be at least a little emotionally swayed by the relationship, by their friendship? Because I don't see how you couldn't. In this case, I think they should have brought in somebody else completely and said, hey, you know what? We are too close. Y'all investigate this. But they did not. Oh, Samantha says two blackout eyes sound like a broken nose. Yes, it absolutely does. Now, and there's my question too. If you're hit by an SUV, again, the bumper's going to get you first. I mean, unless it pushed him, it could have. You know, I'm going to argue both sides of this. It could have, you know, pushed him lower and made him do this, you know, come forward. You know, if he was hit hard and then he slapped his head into the back of it, that is entirely possible. But you would think that there would be some kind of mark, at least, if you're going to break your nose on something on the back of her SUV, but maybe not, okay? Maybe not. The only other way that could have occurred, in my opinion, was if he was, like, let's say he was drunk and he was stumbling. If he stumbled halfway down, or if he fell and he was getting up, and, you know, the SUV came while he wasn't standing up all the way. I would think, though, the SUV impact would knock you back unless it... unless it stopped, okay? Just think about it logically. If you have one object moving, like pushing the other, unless it stopped at the moment it hit you, and then, you didn't recoil all the way back and it just kind of knocked you, you could go forward. I think it's most likely, all right, just my opinion. I think just, physics, you hit something, the first thing is it's gonna go back. And if he was intoxicated, as indications seem to be, they all were, I'm gonna say he's going backwards. So it would be very difficult to get two black eyes from a broken nose. I don't know if his nose was broken though. That is a very, very good point, Samantha. All right, let's go on.
Allegations revealed in these recent motions, Vinny. They point the finger, of course, at the homeowner, a Boston police officer, where this after party was held, that he's this highly trained boxer and fighter with these deep personal ties to the investigation agencies of this death, and that he influenced this lead investigator who he knew well. They also...
All right, well, let me start there. Like, I understand, like, they're all police officers. It was a police officer party, so, and who investigates murders but police officers? So I get that there could be some crossover there, but okay, so continue here.
There's more. They also...
I didn't hear this the first time, maybe the first 3 times. I did not realize that the officer in question at his house was a highly trained boxer. Did you catch that? Woo. That, there you go. There's some doubt there, because if you're angry at somebody, if you're drunk, maybe there wasn't a relationship. Maybe you just said something stupid because you're drunk, and everybody's drunk, and they took it the wrong way. Y'all know how that goes. People get in stupid fights when they're drunk that they would never get in when they are sober. What if John said something, made him mad, and he just started, boom, boom? Just a thought.
Alleged that these partygoers, a handful of partygoers at this house, colluded with each other. So they got together, got their story straight before they talked to the police, given a consistent account, Vinny. Some even changed their story a little bit after they met together.
Okay, that's not good. I never like changing stories. Okay.
Or added details, not necessarily changed, but just added new details.
A little more info.
And then also this defense suggests that the investigators, again, who know this homeowner really well, planted those broken taillight shards that were found at the crime scene to make it appear that Karen Reed ran over or hit her boyfriend and caused his death.
That's now you've come up with an actual theory here. They're covering this up and they are framing someone for murder. They are framing someone for murder. That's what they're alleging, right?
Okay, now, I know this is a big stretch. It's a big stretch because, we like to think, I certainly like to think, that nobody's planting evidence or whatever. If the broken taillight, and again, we're going to get to that, happened the way that Karen Reed said it happened, there would have been loose shards on her bumper that would have been very easy when she came up the next day and found him passed away in the snow, and she's, doing all this. It would have been very easy with people walking around and everything to grab some shards off of the bumper and, drop them on the ground. And then they said some they found after the snow had melted. Well, again, could it be planted? I mean, it could. It's not out of the realm of possibility. Certainly is very disturbing to even think such a thing. But if he was actually involved or the perpetrator, then I guess you would take whatever measures you needed to. What do y'all think? Let's see. Samantha says, "Hi, CJK." Samantha says people argue against corruption when they are drunk at a police after party. Yeah, I mean, there you go. Laura says there wasn't any bodily materials in the snow. Was there, etc., etc. The details, I don't know 100%. Okay. I have not heard that. But again, I am new to this case, so please, please give me some wiggle room here because I just started studying this case yesterday. Um, so let's listen to some more.
With that, that's what you're alleging.
Yeah, this is
Framed for
not
murder.
me, the
Okay.
defense.
Is there anything about why, like how he died, like who killed him? All right, we got the cover up. All right, and I know sometimes it's about the cover up. Anything about how he actually died coming from the defense yet?
Floating in these defense motions, they're essentially pointing to this homeowner who we reached out to at Court TV for comment, as well as the investigative agencies haven't heard back. But because of his boxing, fighting, training, like we just heard her attorney say, that this victim looked like he went round and round with Mike Tyson. He had 2 black eyes, multiple skull fractures, wounds to the right, I think it was the right side, but his arm, scratches, like bite marks too. So he had more like been pummeled, according to the defense, than just hit by the vehicle.
All right, but like why he would do it?
There are more questions than answers.
Okay, all right, so we don't have that.
Okay, again, let me stop for just a second. When you see the wounds on him, he has on his arm, like on the upper part of his arm, he's got a lot of that look like scratches, okay? And Profiling Evil said this would be normal if you had been run over in the snow, stuff in the, I don't know. I can't say. I'm not an investigator in the field, so, you know, I don't know. But he said, you know, you heard her say bite marks. And here is the thing. Here's where I differ with Profiling Evil. I don't know him. I've watched the show a few times. I think he's very knowledgeable, and so, you know, not throwing any shade his way. I'm just saying, you know, I'm gonna give you what is going through my head as well. But he said that these scratch marks, and again, you'll see these, are not, couldn't possibly be from a dog. Okay, now there was a police dog inside that house. And, you know, the defense is saying the black eyes, the trauma to the head, the laceration, the bite marks, the long scratches on his arm suggest an altercation. Profiling Evil says, no, this could not be a dog. Well, okay, literally, sometime this summer, I had an inmate come into our county jail who I had to treat his wounds. He, tried to escape, crawled up under a boat that was sitting in the yard, and, you know, wouldn't come out. And so the police dog went in there and grabbed his leg and pulled him out from underneath the boat. Did he have scratches? Yes, long scratches. Did he have bite marks? Some. There actually, there wasn't as many puncture wounds on him. And again, this is something that I treated every day. They had gotten infected. It was a big old mess. And so I was very familiar with the state of his leg, you know, his calf and ankle. And there very definitely were long marks, scratch marks. I don't know if it was from the teeth breaking across him. I don't know how. I just know that all of his injuries, he said, were from the police dog. So I would have to differ on that since I've actually treated that wound recently. Where's the DNA material on the broken pieces of the SUV? Yes, I'm asking that too. That's why we're looking, that's why we're looking at this, because this literally is a very fascinating case. It seems kind of meh till you look at the details, and then you just kind of get fighting mad. Just Deb says, who better to frame a murder than a cop? Yeah, I mean, you know, like I said, your profession gives you knowledge. Just that's why how many nurses, again, unalive people, because we know how. Okay. The vast majority of nurses don't, as you know, but can we? Sure. Can you do it and not be caught? Once, yeah, maybe a couple of times, but the reason these nurses get caught is because you can see the pattern, and they do it so much in the same hospital. That's what hangs them. They can't seem to stop, but technically you could, sure you could. uh all right, let me go back to your, let's see. Yeah, you're right, Samantha. There should be, on those particles, there should be human DNA. I have not heard, okay? I've not heard that yet. Joe says, what you think those micro pieces at light plastic on his clothes? Can plastic make marks like that? Or maybe she ran over him 2 times with that bumper. Uh, you know, anything is possible. Certainly she could have. I mean, if everybody's inside, okay, it's snowing, whatever, outside it's cold, nobody's really looking out the window, um, we think. And although one of the girlfriends did say they were waiting for him to come in the house, and she had told them to park at a certain place in the driveway. So at that point, you would think, if you saw the car pull in your driveway and then nobody came in, you would be looking out the window. But she may have already been gone by that point. I don't know. But it's a very good point. All right, let's go further.
That part of the puzzle, like someone had a beef with him, or he owed him money, or he slept with his wife, or he did something else inside that we see on. Okay, but none of that. None of that yet. Okay, all right. Now let's get back to that tail light.
Mm-hmm. It's huge.
It's really big. It's really big. How the tail light gets broken could be the key for this whole case for the jury. I don't know. But you have some video tonight.
That's right. Our Court TV team, our producer, obtained exclusively for Court TV video that the defense points to as an alternate explanation as to how this tail light could have been broken, Vinny, not by hitting.
When is this video recorded? Where is this video recorded, and what is the time frame according to the timeline?
Next morning. So
the morning after
yes.
John O'Keefe dies.
Well, same day.
Same day,
yeah, but
early morning hours.
Closer to 5 a.m. Right.
Okay.
He's alleged to have been hit around midnight, 12:15, 12:30.
Okay.
This happens. This video. 5 a.m., a little bit before 5 a.m., ring camera video from the victim's home where his girlfriend, Reed, was staying the night. So this is what the video.
Okay, pay close attention to this, because what I was looking for, well, here, I'll probably back it up. Let's just look at it and tell me what you think, what you first see.
Here it is, Vinny. So she's pulling out in the black SUV. And that's the victim's SUV parked. And the defense says that she makes contact, hits the victim's SUV right there, damaging that back right passenger side tail light. And they also claim you can see, the victim's SUV move, indicating that there was a collision. And then as she pulls away, they say that you can tell there's.
Okay. What did you see? Did anybody see anything? Yes, if he was ran over, Deb, he would have had tire marks. I do not believe that they found tire marks on him. I think they are thinking she hit him with the bumper. I don't know. That she hit him. The cause of his unaliving, it was a combination of blunt force trauma and hypothermia. So basically they're saying he could have possibly made it, except she left him out in the snow, and he couldn't get up. He was injured too badly to get up and get help. Now, if you're watching that video that we just watched, the first thing I was looking for, and really, if you want to, I don't know how he did it, because I'm not good with this, but Friday morning, Evil CJ and I was on his panel, and we talked a little bit about Tanner Barton, and then past that we got onto Karen Reed, and he has this video, and he made it much bigger. I'll try, but we got as close as we could and at really looking at this. And what we were looking for is when the black SUV backs into the gray one. We were looking for the gray, I think it's gray SUV. We were looking for movement. You know, when you hit something, you know, we were looking for a jarring. We neither one of us saw any movement. But now when hers backs out, there is a point where her car kind of bounces a little bit. And let me go back to that point, because I don't know if I can make this bigger, but let me run it back just a little bit. See if you can see that. Okay, she's definitely, like, if she did not hit this car, it was a gnat's hair breadth that missed it. But I don't know if when she's back in here, if this is her putting on her brakes quickly that makes her car move, or what I'm saying, or if this is where she actually hits it. Tell me what you think.
The victim's SUV parked. And the defense says that she makes contact, hits the victim's SUV right there, damaging that back right passenger side tail light. And they
see, I didn't see it as much that time. Let me go back just a little bit.
The victim's SUV parked. And the defense says that she makes contact, hits the victim's SUV right there, damaging that back right passenger side tail light. And they also claim you can see, you know, the victim's.
Let me see if I can. I don't know if I can make this any bigger.
SUV move, indicating that there was a collision. And then as she pulls away.
Okay, now if you look at her tail light, I don't know if I make it bigger on my screen, if it's going to get any bigger on yours. But if, oh, okay, I guess it does. Oh, look at, we didn't need that other part anyway. All of these analytics, that's crazy. All right, if you look at the right tail light, and as she's driving off, and he had this somehow scooted in even closer, you can see that there is a gap, a break in the light. And you know, you can check, let me go back just a little bit here. Okay,
this is what the video here, here it is, Benny. So she's pulling out the black SUV, and that's the victim's SUV parked. And the defense says that she makes contact, hits the victim's SUV right there, damaging that back right passenger side tail light. And they also claim you can see, you know, the victim's SUV move, indicating that there was a collision. And then as she pulls away.
Okay. You see that?
They say that you can.
Okay, you see, now you can really see it here, in my opinion. If you look at the left tail light, you see like it's kind of like a sideways, I don't know. It goes straight across and then up all the way. There's no break that I can see in that tail light. On the right side, you can see that there is definitely a black gap in that light. It doesn't go straight across. Let me let it go a little bit further.
Tell there's missing parts of the tail light coming.
Right, but it would have been missing if it was a result of striking Officer O'Keefe at that time also. Here's a closer look at it. Once again, as we're backing up here, keep your eye and see if you see any movement here from the other car.
Yeah, see, right at that point, when you have it close up like that, that looks to me like she hit it. Hello, Keith Blackman. Okay, let's see. Let me go back up here. Okay, Samantha says, with all due respect, I own a Suburban. I could run over someone without tire marks on them. They would literally fit in the middle of the tires. Yeah, however the hitch would get someone first. Yeah, and I don't know, but yes, I do think there would have been scuff marks on the bumpers. But as we're looking at that video, I couldn't tell the first time, but yeah, to me, it looks like, that she does. Looks to me like she does actually hit, unless that's just her brake, because her car bounces just a little bit. Laura Thompson says, I'm having trouble understanding how a car backing up out of a driveway could result in this. Uh, he was bleeding from his nose and mouth. There's the thing. You know, again, autopsy, I want to read that. I want to see what it says. But this case it gets very complicated because sometimes you're just thinking, yeah, she's guilty, but I don't know. I don't know. All right, let's keep going.
It's very possible. It's very possible.
Prosecution doesn't say there's contact.
If the whole case was, how did the tail light get broken? You've got reasonable doubt right there.
Reasonable doubt, yes.
You've got reasonable doubt right there because you can't tell, but it's a very reasonable to think that at that point you could have broken that tail light.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. And that's defense evidence that we got our hands on. Great job. Okay. Today's hearing, anything else? Any other headlines?
So a lot of the matters were put off because the prosecution wasn't quite ready, but the judge did take up a couple of things, mostly about preserving evidence. The defense wants to independently test the forensics here because of a deadline. The judge said yes. Also, the geofence location data of the cell phone of the victim, they want to preserve that. It wasn't done properly the first time, so the judge is going to make.
Okay, let me stop here for a second. They're talking about Google geofence data. All right, there's a couple of things to this that you should know. One of them is that she supposedly, one of the wives, girlfriends of the police officers inside the party house that night, Googled, they're saying, if this timestamp, here's a big thing, if this timestamp is 100% accurate, it's going to be pretty damaging for the prosecution because they're saying that she did a Google search on how long to unalive in the cold. All right, if they're saying this was around 2:17, I think, something in the morning. If she actually did that and that timestamp is correct, he wasn't found until after 5 in the morning, okay? I'm saying, why do you Google such a thing unless you know that there is somebody out there? How long is it going to take before he's gone? Now, playing devil's advocate, okay? A lot of y'all Google stupid things, as do I. I Google insane things. Sometimes I think, oh my gosh, I hope nobody ever takes my phone and does, it wants to see what I've Googled, but there's always a reason. There's always something. You ever have the strange thing pop in your head? I mean, like, for example, you're sitting around, everybody's drunk or very inebriated or, buzzing at the very least. And you're sitting around and somebody's like, you know what, I'm just going to walk home. What if John said, I'm just going to walk home? Karen, what if he said something derogatory and he's like, you know what, I'm not even waiting for her to come in or come and get me. I'm just going to take off. And somebody else says, you can't, it's freezing cold. You'll get hypothermia and, you won't make it. And then some other drunk person's like, yeah, let me just say, you can't even make it. It's going to take you at least 45 minutes to get home in your state. Let's see, how long does it take to pass away in the cold? I could see me, I'm just saying, I could see me doing something really stupid and Googling something ridiculous like that. But, generally speaking, I would say that is going to be a big boom in this case if that data is 100% correct. Now, there are some other things, and this was argued. I've listened to a lot of arguments on this. Apparently, John was wearing an Apple Watch, and according to the Apple Watch, it says that he went at least 80 feet from the place that he was found, that he was in the house, and it shows him moving around in the house. They're saying it's showing him going up and down stairs. because there is one hypothesis that this did turn ugly, and some of the officers took John in the basement, you know, beat him up, and then took him outside and threw him in the yard. Um, Now, the counter, what I can't think. The contradictory statement to that is that geolocation is not always accurate. Now, and that I was listening to Profiling Evil on this, and he is absolutely correct when he says, he did a test where he leaves his phone in one spot, and it shows that it's gone all these places, and he said, I've left it here, it did not move. I know this is true because if you use the Life 360 app, which I do because I have a daughter and I want to know where she's at all the time, and when we're both in the house, we can both be sitting in the same room, phones down. But if I'm just looking at it, I see me moving, and I'm like, I haven't went anywhere. I have literally been sitting here for the past 30 minutes. I haven't gone anywhere. But it will show us moving around the house and, the perimeter. Sometimes it even shows her phone just at the street that's just behind my house, which it's way more than 80 feet. Like, it's a nice little hop to the end of my yard, over the fence, through their backyard, but it shows her on that street rather than my street. So does it move around? Yes, but they're gonna need to do some more forensic, investigation on that. Maybe I don't know if they can put it through a different report. If it shows that he's moving and that he went into the house, and that is absolutely conclusive, then that is going to be another boom. However, if they can't really prove it, it's going to be one of these things that's going to make the jury, it's going to give them nightmares, okay? Let me see what you're saying right now. Hello, Mother of Dragons. You're right, Jinx. It's similar to the Stephen Smith case, and that's what CJ said the other day. So much with the wounds, it doesn't make sense. Samantha Springman says there's definitely enough reasonable doubt for 1 out of 12 people, at least. However, with it being police involved, who could really say? Exactly. And that's why I really am following this case, because there are so many little details. I mean, you just want to look at the big picture and say, oh, okay, it could have been this. She's saying it's corruption. They're saying she ran over him. The devil is in the details. But the problem is, too, that, dang it, it's contradictory. So much. Honestly, I think it's going to come down to the old-fashioned stuff. I think that they're going to find, this is just my opinion, but I think that they're going to find the geo location is going to be, I don't even know if it'll be admissible. It might not even be worth arguing about. The Google search, however, that could be a big boom. All right, we're getting close to the end of this, I think.
Make the prosecution send the correct letter to Google. And then finally, this is big. The party goers at that house, the defense wants to subpoena their cell phones, Vinny, to see their text messages, their location data, to see this collusion theory of the defense. So the judge didn't rule on that, but he did allow the defense to require the prosecution to send formal letters giving them notice to not delete anything on their cell phones they have.
Okay. All right. First of all, this is mind-boggling to me, okay? Why are you going to tell them now? It's 2023. Why is the judge now saying, hey, we need the data from everybody that was at the party. We need your cell phone data. We need your text messages, all this stuff. Don't delete anything. It's been a dang year, okay? I'm like, I don't know. People have their phones set for different times. I keep my messages for a very long time, but a lot of people have it set for every 30 days. Sometimes 1 week you can set your phone to just wipe out all your texts. If you text a lot, that's a lot of storage that is taken up in your phone. You're going to tell me you're just now, after 1 year, over a year, it's more like 15 months, you're just now telling people, hey, don't delete anything from your phones. What kind of nonsense is that? Everybody, I don't know. I don't know how people investigate. I'm just saying, if I was an investigator, I would halt everybody. And I would actually, in this case, I would say, okay, stop. Hand me your cell phone right now. You don't have it until we download everything that we need off of here. That would have been step number 1. Because you are in a house where there is a body out in the front yard. He's a friend of yours, a coworker of yours, and you spent the previous night partying. Why is this just now coming up? And why does the defense have to say, or the judge have to say, don't delete your data? Too late for some of them. I mean, this is complete lunacy to me. What kind of investigator doesn't investigate everybody who could potentially, be involved? I don't get it. And I don't understand either. Looking at the house that they were in, that's a very nice house. I'm assuming that it is in a nice neighborhood, as most nice houses are. If you're in a nice neighborhood, okay, this is not that long ago. Most people have cameras. Most people do. And even if you didn't, was there not a Ring camera at this officer's house? Okay, maybe they just didn't invest in one. Maybe they didn't think they needed to because he's a police officer. But what about your neighbors? What about the people across the street? Did no one else have a Ring camera or something like that that could have possibly picked up Karen Reed's vehicle to actually show what happened that night? Because I find this a little hard to believe. There are a lot of cheap alternatives. If Ring is too expensive, there's a lot of cheap alternatives for you to put a camera in your window. So, or on your house, whatever. So, these are some big red flags to me.
At the time of this crime, because it may be handed over to the defense.
All right. And this is a great defense team, by the way. Alan Jackson just joined it as well, right?
Yes, celebrity attorneys.
Celebrity attorney, represented Kevin Spacey. Nothing happened to Kevin Spacey, you remember that? All right, great job, Chanley Painter. I just need a second here, because I'm going to be attacked. I'm about to be attacked, okay? Let's bring in the think tank. Join us tonight in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, former prosecutor, former assistant state attorney, counsel for Ben Crump Law, and trial attorney Sue Ann Robinson is with us. In Houston, Texas, criminal defense attorney Carmen Rowe, and in Atlanta, Georgia, criminal defense attorney, law professor at Emory University.
Okay, I'm going to stop this right this moment because they're really going to talk about a lot of the things that we just did. Yeah, that is true. Phone data is in the cloud. They say it can be brought back. Although I've seen cases where they're like, no. And then there is something called a fog report that will give you more accurate details. And I don't know how many people are aware that such a thing exists. Definitely makes me wonder what that report would say in the case of Richard Allen on the bridge that day in Delphi. But that's something different. Let me see. Yes, the phone data should have been checked that night. Absolutely. And you're right. Yes, you are absolutely right, Samantha. This is what broke the Chris Watts case. The neighbor's camera. The neighbor's camera. So, yeah. Why aren't there any neighbors with cameras? Laura, this is confirmation bias at its best, it seems. The investigators gather just enough evidence to create their narrative, and they don't attempt to develop alternative explanations. How very true. How very true. If you want to stay on a narrative, okay? If you want to stay on a narrative, then this is exactly what you do. You gather the evidence that you want it, how you want it to look, okay? Doesn't matter what all is out there. So I would have to say that I believe that it was not great. Not great. It was not great investigation, in my opinion. All right, this went far longer than I thought. And so I'm going to end this right here. Do you like this case? I really love it. CJ and I will probably talk about it. I told him I'm going to cover it, and he's going to cover it. So I'm sure at some point we'll converge again. But I am going to let you go. And I just want to make sure I did not miss anybody. Love this case. I find it fascinating. You might as well get used to it because it's gonna be in the news a lot. So, at least you'll be a little bit familiar with it. And again, there are so many details. And I actually wanted to show an interview that Karen Reed did. And I felt like she was, at least in this interview, people have a lot of faces, but I feel like that in the interview that she did, she seemed to me to be very sincere until they asked her about how many drinks that she had that night, and you can tell where she hesitates. You can tell that she's a little uncomfortable, but that is the only time that I saw her seem to be uncomfortable. And she says, "Oh, I think I had about 4." Well, let me just tell you something. Notoriously, people will lie about how much they had to drink. The standard answer is 3 beers. I don't know why. Somebody tell me why that's always the standard answer when they come into the ER, when they come into the hospital, the jail, whatever. How much do you have to drink? 3 beers. I don't know. It's like a cue. That's what you say. But anyway, she says she has 4 drinks, and the CCTV in one of the bars showed that she had at least 7 there. So she knew that she had drank far more than she was willing to admit. However, like I said, that is the only time that I really saw her get uncomfortable a little bit, and you could tell that she was trying to skirt around that. So that we'll show that. We'll do more on this case, and we'll show that later. And you all can decide. Is she telling the truth? Do you see any signs of her lying about this? Anyway, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here, for staying here. I don't think we had any trolls. When people lie about an amount, it's common for them to use the number 3 and 5. Yeah. Like I said, 3 beers. It's what everybody always has. 3 beers. Anyway, thank you for hanging out. Remember, spooky stories are coming up on my other channel tomorrow. Oh, let me tell you this. Saturday night, I already said, I think CJ and I are going to be covering her Baumeister, that case, and it will be on his channel. It will be a members only, and I'm trying to make it a members only for here. But y'all know how my streaming goes. I don't know if I can set it. If it is not members only while it's live, it will definitely be afterwards. But then, to my members, like I said, I love the way the last members only went. It was a great show. But I am trying this Sunday night. We're probably going to start about 6 again. I will not mess it up this time. Yeah, let me highlight this. Subscribe, please, to Evil CJ. He's a great guy. Anyway, I am going to have a members only at around 6 p.m. this Sunday with truly only members. So let me give you a heads up. I would love to have you on panel, like you know how you saw how we did when Ruckus and CJ and Thomas Frost and Laura were on there. We can all talk. We can all look at each other if you want to. If you want to be on panel, here is what you do. You have to download StreamYard. I think I can have up to 6 people at one time. So you put the app on your phone or your computer, wherever you want to talk, and you don't have to show your face. You can do a little icon, or you can just be invisible. You can just be a voice out there in the wilderness. That's what Ruckus was last time. He was the voice, maybe the voice of reason. I don't know. He was the voice in the background. But you can do that. But you do have to hit the link. It's gonna make you download StreamYard. And I highly suggest that you do that and come and join me because I would really love to see you on panel with me. All right. I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful evening and stay safe. Try to find out what you can about Karen Reed. Bring it to me. Drop me some links in Discord if you find something interesting. But whatever you do, for heaven's sakes, stay silky.